Hello, Andrew.
Hello.
Hi, thank you very much for being with us today. And yes, discussions for a better future. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
Excellent. So
it's not as sunny in England as it is in Malta, I bet.
Yeah. Yes. So, for the benefit of the televiewers, Andrew Brigen is a former four-term MP for North West Leicestershire. He exposed a number of scandals and cover-ups while an MP, including the Horizon Post Office miscarriage of justice, modern slavery in the fast fashion industry in Leicester, and the COVID-19 vaccine scandal. Although not longer an MP, he continues to campaign for the truth, to be told about the COVID pandemic response, and to stop the use of mRNA vaccine treatments in humans and animals. Andrew, why did you stand up for all of this?
Well, my degree at University at Nottingham many years ago just happened to be in biological sciences with biochemistry, specialising in virology, genetics and behaviour. So I think I was probably one of the most qualified of the 650 MPs to look at the pandemic response. My concerns had been raised early in the pandemic and had only intensified with the way that professionals asking legitimate questions, scientists and doctors, whether about the vaccines or the lockdowns, way they were completely cancelled, and that isn't the way that science works. It isn't the way that politics should ever work. And when my government were being petitioned by the Medicines and Healthcare Product Regulatory Agency in November 2022 to extend the vaccines, the experimental vaccines, to children down to 6 months of age in the UK, I had enough at that point. There was no healthy child had died of that age group from COVID-19. We already knew from the Fryman papers analysis of the original Pfizer and Moderna test papers, which they tried to hide for 75 years in America, but had been released by a Supreme Court judgment, that at least 1 in 800 of those small children down to babies would have had a severe adverse event, including possibly death or life-changing injury, for no benefit. And I knew I could persuade the House, or the government at least, not to approve those drugs. I'm not stupid. I knew there'd be a huge backlash from the establishment, so I went to colleagues and tried to get them to support me and agree with me. And many of them did agree with me privately, but not one of them was willing to stand up publicly. I even had an esteemed colleague I'd campaigned with before who told me that he'd had 2 Pfizer jabs, had gone to the gymnasium, had terrible chest pains, and had to go to hospital, and they told him he'd had 2 heart attacks. And despite that, he wouldn't speak out about the vaccines. So I stood up on my own on the 13th of December 2022, and my life changed from that moment. I was completely cancelled. Within a few months, I was thrown out of the Conservative Party I'd been a member of for decades. But the good news is I stopped the government from extending the vaccines to those small children.